Hello YouTube, take a look at this. You have an A-Tier Mutated Fungus Geester account, something that you don't get to see very often. This belongs to Kiramiga and is lovely with its Destiny investments here on our heroes. We have Gista and Elena, one of his tenants, both Destiny improved. We are up to core 100 here on this Gista, fully sublime of course as he would be for a Destiny hero, very strong and really, really interesting. Now, those of you that have never used the Gista or understand how this hero works, well, quite frankly, he has two different strengths. And one of the big reasons people don't like Gista when it comes to using him as a main hero is because those strengths are counterintuitive. If you look at his Destiny improvements, what he enjoys is when allies use basic attacks. It allows him to spend his transition layers to join in, deal extra damage, similar to something like a MFG or a Garuda would do. And the damage pressure he can bring is really good, and he's able to steal energy from opponents. This is really nice. However, if you take a look at his other abilities, well, it's very much focused around the fungi nourishing. So at the beginning of each battle, he grants himself 3 mutated genes, and with each active skill consumes one of those genes. When that consumption happens, he eventually will enter into the mutation awakening version of himself, which allows him to deal more damage, and it improves his active skill. Now, this is really powerful, but the way to get to that point is with continuous actives from Gista. Annoyingly though, of course, as we looked, he needs basics from the team. And you might think, well, allies basics don't stop him from doing active skills. Well, it kind of does, because if you're energy feeding your lineup, if you're giving everyone energy, then it means that, yes, Gista can get active skills continuously, but it forces people into basic attacks. So if you're looking for the maximum damage from a Gista, it's actually best to focus on continuous active skills so that he can do constant damage pressure. However, Kiramiga, the owner of this account, has found that leaning towards the basic attack, even going so far as to using the Phantom Dawn left to gain layers from basic attacks, is actually a very strong move if you're using Gista to get early burst damage in round 1. And early burst is very important for clearing campaign. And you can see, Kiramiga has made it all the way up to chapter 643. Now, this particular wave is an absolute nightmare. Triple Sherlock, triple MFG is very difficult to fight. Even Betty's control can't save you here, because all you'll manage to do is lock down the MFGs, and your control will be reflected from the Sherlocks onto your team, which means the Sherlocks won't get stopped, and they'll still basic attack you. And every basic attack from a Sherlock allows MFG to come back and poison you, so it just results in an absolute massacre. So, yes, I love this team, and it's very cool to see a powerful Geester account putting in work, but unfortunately, against this sort of lineup here, we are going to get absolutely rinsed. So one immediate thing you can see here is we are relying on Betty getting hit, but her crowd control isn't going to affect those Sherlocks like we said. That means there's a chance that we're going to get dubbed by the Sherlocks. It also means that as we get hit more and more and more, we're actually gaining energy, which is counterintuitive to what we want. At least we did get a basic there from Gista, so he has got his layer, but at this point now, we still have to take all the hits from the enemies. It's actually quite funny. I think this Gista is slightly faster than the Sherlocks. He finally... Oh, no, he's not. It was just a counterattack, I think, that triggered. But either way, there we go. He did his active skill, didn't do that much damage, and now Elena's getting bullied by everybody else, and you can see we barely scratched the surface on there. We did a lot of damage from the Geester alone, but if this was a hero like a Mockman or a Vulcan or maybe even an Aspen, someone that can do massive burst damage early, that can eventually hit the whole team, that would be much stronger. Geister's damage is focused on only a couple of opponents, and that makes it difficult to deal with teams like this. Other than that, though, the team's been really fun and strong for Kiramiga. So let's go into Realms Gate. I would love to go ahead and show you some fights here against Void Corruption 143. And you'll see the difference. So this team, unlike the team I just showed you that was focused on basics, this is now focused on active skills. So we're going to have energy feed on this team. That's going to help Betty to lock down opponents. And that means that we'll have Gista coming in for burst. Also notice that we have a divine power for Natalie. And Natalie is able to do a lot of damage to opponents and also create an opponent to be the lowest HP, which is very helpful because Gista, as an assassin, favors lower HP enemies. You can see Natalie already there doing a ton of damage to the Oberon. Gista, just with one single swipe, killing that backline there. Very nice. And now, watch this Gista for his active skill. The damage he does is significantly higher, already massacring the Rosa and the Garuda there. And here in round 3, he's going to do even more damage. Check this out. Tons of swipes, tons of damage, and Gista doing even more damage than Natalie was able to do. Really clean. Let's go again here against this Sigmund and show you what this is capable of. Now, I'm scared here a little bit of Penny. Hopefully, we're quicker than her. Getting stopped by a Penny is very real, right? Penny is a problem hero. If she gets an attack off, she will gain reflect armor. That can kill you. But fortunately, we do have enough speed here that we're able to lock down the Penny before she becomes a problem. And we actually massacred this team far easier than it would have been for the Forest lineup. So there you go, look at that. Really clean, and Natalie this time doing more damage. And this is one thing you'll see with these non-meta strategies, is implementing another A-tier can sometimes be really, really helpful. And Natalie is a super duper strong hero, especially at A-tier, if you can make her a support hero alongside what you're doing. Because not only is she able to buff this Gista and make him much stronger, she's able to deal a significant amount of burst damage on her own, and it makes for a very, very respectable combo. Now, unfortunately, Gista has been energy stolen here by the carry, which means we're just forced into basics. But even just with a basic, Gista just steamrolled that Aspen on the backline, which was really, really cool to see. And he ended up doing even more damage there than Natalie. So the one cool thing about Gista is even with basic attacks, this guy knows how to hit. So once again, here against Shadow, you can see we're relying on Betty's control, and then we've got Gista who can go ahead and clean up. And yeah, it's just a really solid lineup. And you can see this is just using principles that we've spoken about in previous account reviews, or just in general here when we go live on Twitch and we help people with their accounts. We're just using solid strategies. So Gista has Elena as a tenant. She's a great support. We're using her. We've got Betty here to control opponents. We've got Natalie to buff up our damage dealer Gista. We've got Alamak who can give us shields. That team is really complementary. Even Halora here puts out Abyssal Corruption, giving Gista more burst damage, and it just results in a team that's really well rounded and works nicely together. Some could argue it's good to run Freya on a team like this, but I think this sort of lineup is focused on control and immediate damage. We have Elena who can give us dodge, and a lot of our damage is coming from Natalie and Halora rather than what we would gain from a Freya. And Freya gives us extra defense, that's definitely respectable, but I think for most of the time it is actually better to run the team that we have here. Now, up next we have Abyss Heroes. Will this King Barton prove an issue? Or can we just lock him down here with Betty? I'm assuming, due to the performance of the team, we should be fine. Let's have a look. Immediate control, immediate damage. Already putting out a lot of pressure here. We get a good active skill from Gista there. That's putting in decent damage. Ooh, Cruz with the reactive stun. Really cool hero. But no, we remove it, and we clean it up with Gista one more time. Now, we'll go ahead. We'll quickly fight this Dark Wave. You've seen it already. That's another victory. And now we have the trial of Ballwalk. It will be interesting to show you what we can do here. Now, Betty's not going to be as good, so we have a lineup here that swaps out the Betty in place for Freya. So whereas Betty gives us survival because it comes through control against enemies who can't be crowd controlled, we need the Freya who's going to give us added defense. And that's really important. You don't always have to run the same 6. Now, granted, not a lot of you have multiple heroes that you can choose between, but if you do, it's knowing when to use certain heroes over others is important. Wow, that puppet did a ton of damage to us. Good thing we have Alamak then to give us shields, and the more actives we get on Freya, the better, because we're going to need a heck of a lot of survival to keep us in this fight. There we go. Our health is coming back in, and oh my word! Yo! We are getting minced. Nat gets an active. Come on, Gista. Oh my word, we might just have to rely on Gista to solo carry us here at the end. Is it possible? He's going. Come. Oh! No! Oh, that was unfortunate. These puppets hit like a truck. I thought Gista would have had that maybe. But yeah, man, this is one thing you guys will notice if you're ever fighting Realmsgate in these deeper levels. Realmsgate 141+ is hard. Rip indeed, yeah. These puppets hit like monsters. So here we go. Active skills again. Hopefully Gista can get it on the second pass. I mean, we've killed one of them, and two of them are very low HP, but we still have to deal with a lot of damage pressure from these guys. These puppets are nasty, already killing two of our teammates. And we can't rely on Betty now for control, right? Because puppets can't be CC'd. So Gista's got a couple actives out here. We're gonna need a really, really good follow-up active here for round 3. We've got energy feed. That's a basic from Gista, and I think one nice big juicy active should clear this final guy. Let's see it. There you go. Swiping through, getting a ton of damage, and finally getting it beaten in 2 tries. Not as good as it could be, not perfect smash material, but still, that is very nice. Anyway, folks, one big thing we can show you with a Gista as well is the Flame Shrine. So, for Flame Shrine, you can see we're opting to use Natalie, who can buff up our highest attack. We've got Freya here, who's going to continuously buff us and keep us alive. We've got Halora, who can put out Abyssal Corruption. And, of course, we've got Drake and Heartwatcher for their extremely powerful buffs. Drake is able to remove all the defenses of an opponent, and Heartwatcher increases the damage dealt to that opponent by up to 300%. That's 4 times the normal damage. We have Wolf here to put bleed on the opponent. I assume that allows the Halora to go first. And fun thing here is we're using Gista's Core. So for those of you that don't know what Gista's Core does, at the beginning of each battle, it increases all allies' damage dealt against enemies that are poisoned and enemies that are burned. And this stacks. This results in a ton of extra damage for your team. Now, the rest of it is a little bit of damage over time, but no one really cares about that bit. The main part is the all damage dealt buff. And in stuff like Flame Shrine, this is going to be significant. So let's go check this out. Immediate burst damage coming there from the team. And here we go. Will we keep them alive? I'm pretty sure we will. This account already has things pretty well figured out. And we've got, look at that, black hole marks, defense down, coming out there from Drake, all good stuff. And nice burst damage from the team. Now, it's going to be difficult to see how much this actually is, because I don't think the puppet's health bar is going to move all that much. And see that puppet at the back? The reason his health bar has moved is because of Drake's defense down. So he's going to be the one that gets focused. And also, look at all those stacks on these opponents, all those debuffs getting put out. And what's funny about that is that actually synergizes really nicely with Natalie, because Natalie is able to do more damage the more debuffs an opponent is under the effect of. So yeah, this is cool, getting to use a A-tier Natalie alongside an A-tier Gista. And I love A-tier Natalie. She's one of my favorite heroes, and I think Gista's really unique, and I think his abilities, despite being a very difficult hero to use, if you understand the difference between when to use basics with his Destiny and when to use actives with his raw abilities, it's really, really cool. And you wonder if Alakita will synergize with Gista? Well, I'm hoping with Alakita coming out soon, or probably maybe already a Transcendence hero by the time you guys are watching this here on YouTube, she will maybe have some abilities that synergize. We'll just have to wait and see. There is a potential for crossover between these two heroes. I don't know how likely that is going to be here for us. And whoa, there's so much damage over time here. There is so much that needs to load that the game at the end of the round has to pause to calculate all the damage numbers. That is something I haven't seen since the days of using Ithaca in Flame Shrine. Look! And then all the numbers come through. That is crazy. There are so many damage over time stacks at the moment. And you can see now it's got to a point where Gista is doing so many attacks. With each round that goes on, he gets more and more power on his active. Look at all those swipes. It is ridiculous. This guy can do so much. And the funny thing is, the more effects we have, the more damage over time they take. Look, there are 53 stacks that were on that guy at the back there. And now look at that. It's going higher and higher and higher and higher with that Gista active skill. What are we on now? There's like 53 poison stacks, 46 burn stacks. Like, what is going on? This is so much damage over time from this guy. And I'm pretty confident the damage numbers are going to be absolutely astronomical. If there's one thing Gista's good at, it is single target, high pressure damage. Look at that, all throwing there onto the opponents. What a cool hero. It's so laggy. Yeah, it's like the end of the round. It's like, think. And then the number of numbers that are coming up, like, our heroes are attacking. And the numbers aren't even stopping. Our damage is coming out faster than the numbers can register on the screen. That is crazy. Like, look at this. We're attacking whilst it's loading it all. Oh my word. This is ridiculously good fun. Come on, Gista. Wrap it up. There's the wolf. We didn't even see wolf come out in effect. We just saw it appear on the screen. Oh, that was funny. And then there you go. This is going to be the end now as we see just how much damage we've managed to do. Let's see. Well, that is 1.23 E to the 16. And almost all of that is coming from Gista. But you know, Natalie's doing a whopping 1.5 E to the 14. That Natalie did more than you guys even do with your heroes. You didn't even need Gista there for most of you to be competitive. That is crazy. Absolutely colossal. And look, that's jumped Kiramiga into a beautiful position high up here. Oh my word. And I reckon if we do one more attack, it's gonna, what, put Kiramiga top of the leaderboard? Oh, it's only E to the 15, only 8.3. Oh, what a shame. But Natalie's still doing 1.5 E to the 14. That's funny. And look, that puts Kiramiga immediately on top, and he's still got 2 attacks left for the day. What an incredible hero. Gista's damage is really, really cool. Really exciting in Star Expedition as well. His damage pressure is really, really solid. The one thing that does sadly let Gista down, though, is how far he can progress you in Void Campaign, because there are some things he's going to struggle against. This one has 25.8 million attack. A lot of that's coming from a very substantial treasure train that is giving 4.4 million bonuses here. But look, with Destiny and with the improvements we have, there's only a couple A tiers here. Kiramiga has managed to get halfway through Chapter 6. That is extraordinarily respectable for an account like this. And even if he was able to beat Chapter 6, he would get, like most people, completely stonewalled on Chapter 7. And if you look at his account compared to most other people, he's actually 641 on the leaderboard. Now, I know my webcam is covering that number, but that still puts this account up there in the top 1,000 of accounts. Very, very, very impressive for an account like this. And I really, really, really can't wait to see, you know, Kiramiga's account grow and improve. He's got an A-tier Arania here, so this is going to be a new project for him moving forwards. And you're on the top 100 in Void bosses. That does not surprise me at all, as Void bosses are going to be something that Gista is very, very potent against. I remember one of my moderators, Noah, he was very, very good at killing Void bosses. And yeah, you can see we're 10 out of 10 on this one, 8 out of 10 over here. And if you look at this guy, we've got 2 out of 10. Maybe there's room for a little bit more damage here. I was definitely able to do more with my Lord of Fear Aspen. But either way, it's still very impressive. And I'm really, really excited to see what more of this account can do. So hopefully today has managed to be a good showcase of an A-tier Geester. We've talked about some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses, and if you have more questions about how to use an A-tier Geester, or if you'd be interested in building one for yourself, I would first of all recommend establishing your account first before you push towards a Geester. I think Geester shines when you have 6 heroes on your account, because you can use a full team, you can lean towards energy feed with a Betty, or you can focus on the basic attack strategy, but in either case, you're going to want a substantial lineup of heroes to make the most out of Gista. Gista is very limited on where he focuses because his attacks are only going to hit a small number of people, and to stack up his hits, you do need to survive long term. And that's going to be difficult with a small number of heroes. So my recommendation would be, if you are going to lean towards a Gista account, probably do it later on in your Idle Heroes career, but definitely put that in the back of your mind. And the cool thing about Gista is he's really, really cheap. As far as A-tiers go, he's one of the easiest to buy from the auction house without heavy investment, and it is possible to make progress, as you've seen here today with Kiramiga. So there you go, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. And if you want to see more interesting stuff, I'll link up there a video about Bloodtide Queen Arania as an A-tier hero. Go ahead and check that out if you want to see another strategy that you could use. And that's a hero that you can use even earlier on in the game with good success. So maybe you could use Arania for a small while before moving towards Gista. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Hit that subscribe button for more things. And until then, have an amazing week and happy idling.